Hello, guys, and welcome to the part 4 of our video series, Crushing Limit by Limit. Today, team will be one of the most important concepts in poker in today games. We're gonna talk about block bets. In my opinion, block bets have the highest EV gain out of the all concept in poker today. Maybe we can compare it to the multi-way pots, but yeah, highest EV gain because basically people don't know how to respond to it. They are in the dark, they're on unknown territory, and whenever that happens, whenever people don't know what to do, they need to improvise. And when they improvise, they make mistakes, and we are here to capitalize on that mistake, guys. So let's get into the action, talk about block bets, have one hell of the session. I'm gonna ask, please, today give us actually samples that we can do it. And yeah, it's all I wish, guys. Just give us the sample that we can actually uh, explain everything about block betting that you need to know. So let's start first. What the black block bet is, when we use it, why we use it. Block betting is happening only out of position when you're in the river and you put a small bet around 25 or 33%. And yeah, the goal of your block bet is to actually go to the showdown on your own price tag and get value from weaker hands. And yeah, you actually prevent that opponent with their better hands than your hand, bet bigger size, and then uh, you have much higher price, and you still need to defend that part of your range, that medium strength and low strength part of your range. And yep, definitely you're then in trouble. By doing block bet, you actually get value from weaker hands, which is significant, and you are going in a showdown against hands that are actually better than your hand, really cheaply. And yep. Here we are against a weaker player based on the nickname and based on the line, and this looks to me really fishy. When we bet 1/3, we're actually gonna be calling always because this looks like a spew based on from what I see. Uh, Pocket kings, we're gonna go back. We're gonna get bigger size here. We get called with the weaker player. We're gonna bet turn again, and we're gonna go 2/3 and we're gonna be actually blocking here into the multi pot, and still we have to value to get from weaker player. Weaker player will have hands like a jack 9 off, queen jack that can call. They like to raise the turn, so we're just gonna be bet falling to raise here. Still a lot of value to get. When the weaker player raise here, I'm just gonna be folding my kings in this line because yep, they're actually not gonna raise as a bluff very often, but still they will actually call with the weaker hands. So that's what we want to do. 8-10 we're gonna be opening, and let's see what we're gonna do else. No, so nothing. Nothing. We're just gonna be folding other tables. We're gonna be folding 8-10 suited on a 3-bet. In these positions, queen 3 is gonna be also folded. Uh, Check. So yep, guys, actually, block betting is the one of the in today poker games. It's really powerful tool, and if you can use it properly, I will just give you the like really pure and simple example where you can see a potential gain of the EV with block betting. So let's say we are in the river. Let's say the pot is 100 blinds. Let's say we have a bet block bet with 25 or 33%, and we still get called with a lot of wrist hand than ours. So we actually bet this size and we get called. When we get called, if we bet 25%, the pot will be 150 blinds. If we bet 30%, the pot will be 166 blinds. And we actually get called by the worst hand, and we actually scoop the pot of 150 or 166 blinds. And what actually happens, guys, if we are checking? Uh, they will always check behind hand that is weaker than our hand, or most of the time. So the pot will stay, the pot will stay 100 blinds. So here we gain additional 150 or 166 blind spot. And what happens when we actually block bet 25% or 33%? Here we're just gonna be continue calling. We want to defend our range. We three bet even some sixes. We don't have basically ever ace queen. So he has range advantage. So we're just gonna be calling, defending our range. It's really important to just have these strong hands into the call of the turns because we can actually call a shot without problems on the river. And we want to protect our hands. We want to protect our ace 10, our ace 8. Here we have clear call. So definitely we want to be calling the turn against an overbet. Let's go more. So yeah, when we are actually weaker in this pot, uh, we bet 1/4 or 25%, or we bet 33%. And what happens? They actually, uh, if they call a block with the hands that is better than our hand, but still, if we check, it's gonna bet bigger size. Uh, we're gonna lose pot of 150 or 166 blinds, and they can just bet these hands actually on the river with 2/3 or like 80% of the pot. So if they're betting 80% of the pot and you still need to defend that part of your range still, the pot would be 260 blinds, and actually it could have been a lot less. So yep, you're actually saving when you're weaker. You're actually gaining a lot of really strong board here for a range. We're gonna forbid ace queen off. We have some king queen off. We have hands like kings and aces. We don't have eights, but it's not a problem. We have also queens. We're gonna bet range. We're gonna bet range on the flop. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. Pretty strong boards for our. We're gonna bet range. Small blind versus big blind. When he shoves, we're actually gonna be folding. And yep, pretty standard. So just think about how powerful block betting is. It's insanely powerful. So you're gonna save, you're gonna lose pot of 150 blinds instead of 260 blinds. You're gonna get value and win a pot of 160 blinds instead of 100 blinds, and that is massive EV advantage. And we just didn't even scrape the surface, guys. What we actually can do with blocking. So this is the basic concept. Basic concept is bet out of position on the river. Uh, Clearly because of our medium strength and lower strength part of our range, that is actually value betting. So when we are block betting, when we are using 25% or 33%, we are actually mostly value betting. When you just think logically, when we have let's say 100 value combinations and we bet 1/4 or 25%, actually we can only have 25 bluff combinations. So when we are block betting, we just can't be bluffing a ton because we actually are using this smaller the size. And when we actually bet bigger, we can bluff more. When we bet smaller, we can bluff less. And we are actually value betting, but we are still having the bluffs there. Uh, and then what happens? That is basic concept, but if you want to be balanced, and you should be balanced, you gonna put some value hands. Then you're gonna mix some value hands. You're not gonna mix all value hands. You're not gonna have really often, but you're gonna mix some value hands. And in some spots, when when the river is actually terrible for your range, when actually a lot of nuts advantage has gone to your opponent, and then actually there's a lot of sense on mixing with your nuts, actually pure nuts or your really value hands, and put it in that block bet size so you can protect all the other range. And what happens then? Then a really interesting concept is happening. If you're having the nuts in your block bet range, uh, you can actually, when they are raising over your block bet, you actually have the potential to go all in. And when you have the potential to go all in, you can recognize spot and you can also mix bluff there. So with doing it the right way, you just have like unlimited possibilities of what you can actually do. I'm gonna be checking ace five. Um, First, you if your range is balanced, and it will be balanced if you're gonna bet one third when he calls a three bet, calls three bet. The guys usually have a lot of pocket pairs from what I see on this limit. A lot of hands like sevens, eights. We're gonna try to fold them out. Yeah, they can still see. We can still see a hand like a king queen, like an ace queen there. On the river, hmm, I think we actually have to be bluffing this because he can still have this weaker pair. So yep, I'm just gonna put it there. And he called with the king queen. And we are still gonna be bluffing there. He can have hand like an ace ten that he already called a three bet. He can have hand like a pocket eights with the heart, pocket sevens with the heart. So actually, we just want to be bluffing on the river. Yes, just to get back into the story, really, really, really powerful concept, and stick with basics for first, and then go with a lot of adding to that basic. You're gonna add this even value hands there, and when you're doing like that, the people can't trace you when you actually have the nuts in the range, when you actually had value hands there. They will be always guessing. And block betting is unfamiliar, and how to respond to it, to a majority of players on my limit, they just don't know how to respond it. The last few months I was mainly working on the block bets because I was playing also tournaments a lot, and I'm gonna still be peeling one more here. And now we're just gonna be potting the river if he checks. So yep, I'm gonna pot the river. We're not blocking diamonds, so yep, he's gonna still be calling always like Jack X, but yeah, I still feel that it's good. He can have hand like a Jack 10 of hearts, which actually is bad call, or Jack 9, and he calls with the 8 10, which is actually really bad call. But he did call us. Okay, just get back into the story again. Block betting is just a really uh, unlimited potential of uh, strength and EV you can get. People in my limit, they just don't know how to respond to it. They are improvising, making mistakes against it. They don't know what to call, they don't know what to raise against it. Because to know it, you just need to know the GTO. And to go into the GTO spots of the single raise spot when the ranges are that wide, I bet there is not a lot of people, even on high stake, that are actually doing it. I did it mainly because I was playing a lot of MTTs, and it can actually really help me in MTTs, and it helped me really a lot. And then to concept, I just wanted to make better and more perfect into it, and I also practice it for not sure what this means. We have enormous advantage, so I'm just gonna be raising the turn. Uh, we have really enormous advantage. And on the river, we're just gonna go with the pot again. We can pot it like pocket sixes, and I'm not sure what he actually reps here. To me, he looks like he reps a quads or king x. I don't see like this hand that is now betting his pocket fives, on the river. So actually, I'm just gonna be calling here. So it is a bluff, or he has a king x, or repping a quads, because they tend to just dong the river, uh, generally stronger. Uh, when you go into the range research, they actually donking the river is really really strong play, value heavy in the weaker players and in the whales and fishes. So in this line, when they actually are calling out the position turn and donking river, it's actually really strong. So if he, to me, he only reps like a king X or a quad. So our hand is actually just calling there. He's not gonna do it with pocket fours, pocket fives that we can get value from. So he actually reps that range. So I think it's good to do it like this. Okay, table number four we have. Let me just also get really a lot of interesting hand is going on. So yep. Uh, if I lose my thought process in somewhere, I will get back to it later. And so just try to understand me because the fourth tabling, a lot of actions going on. Yep, and we still need to go over this, and still actually not a lot of block betting happening, but yep, we just get used to it. Like the last time when we need 3-bet pots, there was like all the block bet spot. So yep, sometimes it's like that. And but the really important thing is to go through the concept to give you uh, why and how and what to do, and I will try to do it. Okay, table number three, ace four suited. We're gonna be three betting. We're gonna be mostly three betting, and against the four bet of the this player, not full stack. And until we know him, I will be folding my ace four suited, which is actually calling majority of the time. But in this spot, I will be folding it against this player. And here I'm gonna also fold. Checking on ace 9 8 against the weaker player, I think it's a way to go. And now we're gonna actually be betting delay with 1/3. There's a lot of value to get, and people will generally be stabbing hand like a top pair, so a lot of value to get. And that when he called, actually the river would be a nice block bet spot. Um, Also, block bet concept actually can you be used in single raise pot, three bet pot, in four bet pots. You can check on my blog. I put some hands in about block betting in four bet pots actually, where you actually do induce a raise, where I actually had the nuts and just block bet it in these spots, and actually we faced shove, and they were actually turning the hands into bluff, and I used the nuts in a spot where it's actually really bad for my range. And yep, good regs will just notice it's not really good for your range. You're gonna have troubles if you actually face a hit, so they think my range will be in trouble in that spot. And actually I include my value hands, I include the nuts in the range. And yep, it's really nice when you scoop a pot like that, where would if you actually bet big, they would always fold these hands. And yep, when they just go and like raise over your or bet shove on your block bet, and you actually have the nuts, it's a real great feeling. But start from basics and first just use the concept until you're familiar with, because actually if you never put the nuts in your range, so just think, you don't ever have a nuts, you don't have value hands, you actually only have medium strength hands and lower strength hands, and you still use this concept, it will still be really profitable for you. Because what can happen? You actually block bet, you actually face a raise, you can still call. There's like you can still call, you can still bluff catch if you think your opponent will put you on a test, if you think your opponent will try to bluff you, even without balancing. And balance will come when you get to know with the concept and you get experience, the balance will actually come. Um, just think about, even without the crown of the concept, without the big finish, the you can still make it really really profitable, because actually when they raise, you will actually go and think, okay, what they rep now, what which value combination they are raising over my block bet in this spot. And actually you can always count the value combinations, see how many bluffs you need, and you can just see if you can find these bluffs to make these calls. So even without nuts in your range and even without value combination, it's really strong concept. And if you want to go perfect, then you will be like insanely tough to play against. You will be a machine. And yeah, that's something we actually want to accomplish. But always start with small steps through, and then upgrade on it with bigger steps. The guy's actually again called calling a three bet, so that shouldn't be ever happening. His looks merged to me, and we're just gonna be betting the turn big here. Uh, we can just put him on the test. He's gonna flop with the hands like an ace jack, like an ace queen, king queen, king jack with diamonds, with the clubs, with the backdoor draw. So our range is uncapped. We have all the over pairs. We have tens. We have eights. We have all of these hands. So we're just gonna put him on the test. We are deeper, so we can put him on really tough test if he is actually calling on turn. So yeah, really nice spot to be. You always want to attack capped ranges, and this is the classic example of really capped range. By cold calling, you should never be cold calling three bets. It's a big mistake. And generally in poker, you always want to be uncapped. You never want to be capped. So there, I would never advise you to call on any position except on button, and in all the other positions, big blind or button, you have a cold call range. In all the others, you don't. Against this size, we're not going to be calling very much. It's almost 4x. So yeah, we're just going to be going 25.8. Seems nice. Checking back here. And this is like really bad. And the guy is obviously weaker player, but even like this weaker players, this is basically always aces and kings from what I saw. In my experience, always I'm gonna be let's just we're gonna give him ace king. Based on my experience, I never saw like I had kings in this spot. I shouted like 10 times from what I remember, and actually we were always behind. So yeah, I will just give the guy a pot. Okay. Nines are still calling on the flop. We're gonna fold it on the turn, and we're gonna fold everything else. Yeah, this is so gross and so fucking disgusting, and I apologize on swearing there. I just had to do it because it's so frustrating. And yep, you shouldn't be doing that at home, and I apologize. I will not do it again. But I just had to say it because it's so gross. Because if he shout out, call the ace king. But now, like we are in these positions, and we forbid the guy, and he goes like this. I never saw anything except aces and kings here. And yep, I had aces in this, but I had kings. I shoved, and I also saw like king or aces there. So yep, I will give him with ace king. Even it's like much better to have ace king here than queens, but it's actually if they don't bluff ever, it's actually the same. And yep, we're gonna bet big on the turn and really bad river. We can shove just, but actually I think he's wrapping a straight. So really bad run out for us. Where he's actually calling with a gut shot on the flop and on the turn. Yep, double gut shot on the turn, but still we put a bigger size, so we can just mark him as a weaker player. And back to block bets, and I hope we're just gonna get these block bets examples. There people do really a lot of mistakes when they are playing against block bets. I'll give you the from my pool, from what I saw, uh, the biggest mistake they're doing. First, they're not including bluffs into the block betting region. Uh, so basically, I have on my HUD a pop-up where I actually have all the sizes like this, and have all the sizes they're using. I have bet fold and bluff percentage, and if we have a sample here, we're going to see their strength, we're going to see bet fold and how percentage they bluff. And actually, a lot of these guys, when they're using block bet, they actually don't bluff with that size. They don't think they have fold equity, guys, so they are just not bluffing with it enough, and that's a big mistake. There's a clear hands that actually want to be bluffing with the block size. Usually that's like a low equity hands, not really good blockers, but still down with your like bottom of your range. And also, if they have a potential of unblocking the folds, then that's actually really good. But usually with good blockers, you're gonna be wrapping something stronger. But actually, when you have the hand like doesn't fit anywhere in that region, it's actually, and it's low in your range, it's never gonna win on a showdown. It's actually a good block bet bluff because it's cheap. Uh, it doesn't need to work really often, and yeah, and still people overfold to block bets. So if you're betting 1/4 and he actually folds 40%, you're printing the money, and that's great. And why wouldn't you do it? You should, and you always want to include bluffs in every line, and especially in that line, because if you're not ever bluffing, they don't need to ever bluff catch, and you just have to bluff. Um, Okay, but the concept is still you're mainly value betting. So, okay. Here we actually want to be betting with a bigger size on the 3 for 10. Um, Actually, Ace Jack in the GTA world is actually not a bet. Ace Queen and Ace King and King Queen and King Jack are. Ace Jack is actually Ace Jack is actually checking the flop, but people are still overfolding to C bets. They are not raising appropriate range in position, and when you put all that together, then betting even hands that are actually not GT or C bets can actually be profitable in these spots. If they're not defending right, then and if actually even it's more important if they are just not having enough raising in position, then actually you're just gonna be realizing really a lot of equity, and then yeah, you just can bet a lot more. So for example, if you put that in position player is not raising uh, ever or raising really small amount in position, that people are actually they're not raising enough in position on my limit, PO will actually go from c bet 50 to bet range. Because yeah, all of your hands can actually realize equity. Our ace jack can hit a jack, can hit a queen, can hit a king, ace, and we actually have equity, and we can just be barreling the turn. And if they're not punishing us, then just forget about GTO and go with the betting range in many spots. Okay, so we go through the biggest mistake, number one, in regarding block betting. Mistake number two is just block betting the wrong spots. Uh, I see a lot of people started betting 1/3 in position, which actually doesn't have any sense. Because let's think, what is the goal of our block betting? Like we said, the goal of the block bets is to cheaply go on our own price tag to go to the showdown. That's our number one goal, and uh, get value from weaker hands while lose minimum from the hands that are better than our hand. That's the goal. And in position, you have like a medium strength hand. To run out this bet, you're just gonna be checking it. What value you want to get with 1/3? There is no ever sense to be doing that. And people suddenly start to doing it, and it's like really big mistake because in position range is always much more polarized, and actually just want to be betting uh, with the bigger sizes. Yep, actually here is growth spot, but we just have to call because I mean he actually is like wrapping hand like king 10 or ace 10, but against this size we're just gonna be calling it, or 9 10. and that's like never bet on, never dunk on the turn, but he did it. Yeah, we're gonna pay him out there. We're gonna be three betting big blind versus button. We are using bigger size because we are more polarized. And on a big blind, we are actually using the big size against every position. And on small blind, we are linear. We're just going to go for 4x. Betting range, big blind versus button. Betting range on this board. Nice board to be betting range. Actually, on the turn, we are bluffing with hands like a queen, jack of clubs, and actually we are turning into bluff our some of our ace x hands. Ace 10 has a lot of sense. Ace jack is not. We don't have a lot of ace 10 off in the range. We are also calling half of our ace jacks, so putting in the ace 10 is actually not that bad. And try to fold out hands like a sevens, eights, and he can still call ace queen, ace jack. He can still call diamond. So actually, we're just gonna be triple ace 10. Uh, so yep, we're just gonna triple it up. Um, he's still gonna call pocket pairs, fours, sixes. He can still call sevens. Ace queen is not going anywhere, and our goal is actually just to fold out hand like an ace queen, which people I think will definitely fold against unknown player that we are. So yep, nice spot. Let's get back into the block betting. Block betting in the wrong spots happens all the time, especially when they try to do it in position that we explained doesn't have any sense. In position, you can just freely go to showdown at your own terms. You immediately realize equity. No sense to be doing it. Um, and then people starting to get fancy, and I see like the river is perfect for their range. They're all betting the turn, and suddenly they're block betting the river. Yeah, doesn't have any sense. We're gonna be calling with the backdoor draw also. So people suddenly are starting getting fancy. They're using block bets, so like they wanted to induce a raise or stuff like that. And yeah, we're just gonna be calling to this size. And if he checks, we're gonna actually be bluffing our queen seven, I think. Um, we have a lot of jack x, 9x hands. We actually will not bluff this. Even like river is perfect to do it. But I think we will be over the line. But yes, you know what? I love to be over the line. So yeah, it's too much. But the river is really good for us. We have 9, 10, jack 10, ace 10, a lot of 10x hands. Yeah, and he is slow playing with the straight. Uh, I just have to go over the line in this spot actually, because it's so good for my range. And he bet the pot on the flop, which is polarized, and then he's suddenly not betting a pot. He suddenly goes like this, so that suddenly doesn't have any sense. It looks like a weak hand, but still, I mean, when the river comes there, I think, yeah, it's too much. But sometimes I just want to do too much because the river is so great for me. Okay, so mistake number three, just to conclude it, trying to do too much like I did now, trying to be fancy, and yeah, trying to be fancy, trying to induce something in the spots that actually doesn't have sense. People are doing that. Uh, just think about like this. Whenever you are polarized on the turn and the river doesn't change anything, you just want to go all in on the river. There is no other size. When you're polarized on the turn and the river didn't change anything, you want to be still polarized on the river because you're mostly against the merge range, and polar range always crush the merge range. That's the end of the story. And when people are from that going to a block bet, doesn't have any sense. If you're polarized on the turn, use the big size on the turn. Doesn't have any sense. One third, I think it's fine. We can bet like 6x. People check range is bad, and actually here we have actually a good block bet spot. We can bet 10x on the turn, we can bet 10x on the turn for value. And now on the river, if we have hand like a jack 10 with the heart, I would actually love to do it with blocking it and put it into the block bet. So if we have 10 jack of hearts or king 10 of hearts, actually block bet has a lot of sense. We can get value from weaker pairs like pocket fours, like pocket fives, like a 6x. And finally, we actually have the basically a nuts here, and we were just gonna be jamming it. So yeah, we put the value here. We have the value. We can bluff in this spot also. Hand like, let's say, a6 with ace of hearts, and just turn it into bluff. And that's what putting a value and balancing our range actually gives us. So this is classic example. The river is bad for a range. He actually has hand like a king queen and ace queen, but still we have for example, if we have a 10x here, it's a clear block bet because you get value from, if we have in jack 10 or with a jack of hearts, you actually block flushes. You can get value from weaker 10x, and you can get actually value from pocket fours, pocket fives, weaker 6x hands. Yeah, so actually it has a lot of sense in this spot to, we admit the river is not that great for a range. He's gonna have better queens than we're gonna have, and yeah, we're just gonna be block betting it, and yeah, you're gonna be balanced, and that's when you're balanced. They will just having they will have really tough time to play against it. Uh, really clear bet on 2 3 7. Clear bet and fold to a check raise. Really glad that we actually had a chance to show the concept. That's great. Okay, we're gonna be, I think, weak check range, and the river hits him really good. So there's now no sense in block betting because river hits him really well, and he's just gonna have really a lot of ace x hands, and then actually here if we have 7x doesn't have sense to block because he can still have 8s and 9s, and this is a classic spot where we actually do a lot of checking, and our hand is a check, actually check fold. Okay, use a bigger size here, and okay, there we get shoved on, which is okay. uh and that's the three biggest mistake, guys. Don't get fancy, stick with the basics and upgrade on your basics, and that's all you want to do, nothing more. We're gonna call 5-7 suited. I think a small versus button, that's okay. I call it on my limit. GT actually folds the 5-7 suited, it calls 6-8 suited, but I think actually you can do it here. Actually, I think I will go also for a block bet in this spot. uh, we're actually wrapping a sex, so we turned the hand that actually I think really nice as a cheap bluff, so we can fold out hand like that. He has like a queen 9 or something like that. So yeah, really good concept we can do, and we put a cheap bluff with actually with I mean, there's no sense in put it in the bigger size. You don't have blockers, so we basically have just a clear bluff with a small size. Uh, Here on the turn, we're gonna go with the delay. We have a clear delay spot, and we can also bet the river. But the king ace is the kicker. I still feel it worth. He's not gonna have ace x in this line, so yeah, but I still feel it's worth a bet on the river. And actually, you see, we didn't bet block bet on the river. We just bet the stronger size because we actually in position. We want to be bet stronger. We are calling the river here always. He can turn out a weaker pair into the bluffs. I don't see like many 9x hands except pocket nines, which is a 3 bet. Should be a 3 bet. Maybe hand like a 9-10 suited or queen 9 suited, but actually he can have a lot of ace x hands like ace 5 of clubs or stuff like that. So, yep, we have the clear call on the river with our two pair, and he actually only called with a quintet, which is okay, and he called quintet off on small blind, which is really bad, but yeah, it can happen. Okay, we're calling ace jack. I think it's pretty standard. We are also four betting some of it. we are calling here basically a shove, or if he's double barreling, we're calling it. And we're gonna actually be doing a smaller bet on the turn with our open ender and a pair, and we are of course always calling it off in this spot. And really nice that he made a spew in this spot. Yep, really nice. I'm really glad that we also had the opportunity to show actually concept that we were talking about. So can we get please more until the end of this video? Uh, Here's a nice spot. We can go block bet. Uh, I mean, this hand is like really strong. But you see like what our range looks like. Um, do we want to be bet like a 10x here? Actually, here, yep, it's nice spot for a block, but our hand is actually too strong, so we don't need to do it every time. But actually, here you want to block hand like a 10x, or like, but ace x mostly wants to be getting in a bigger size. So yeah, I'll just put it like this, and I will do this with also my trips and my ace x. Okay, he has poker queens. Uh, yes, you want to do it with the 10x, because 10x can still get value from weaker hands, and the line is double checked. But you don't need to always do it with value hands, and actually you're not doing it even very often with value hands. You're mixing some value hands. So mistake is always mix it. This is like a spot you're gonna do block bet with the 10x. You can put uh, uh, you can put ace-x, like lowest ace-x into block bet just to be protected, but else like normal ace-x you're gonna be putting into the bigger size. So we don't need to do it always. And we have the table here, and actually here we're gonna go with an 4 bet. We need to call like 30% in the GTO world with our ace king, and yep, that's GTO. I put also sometimes call with the ace king, but mostly I'm formatting it and getting it in. So yeah, we're gonna go with the 4 bet and getting it in with our ace king. Okay, we are against the pocket jacks, and he gets the full house. Okay, folding there. Okay, so about the concepts, we go through mistakes, we go through what explain what it is, we go into the balance. Um, what else we can say? Let me also think a little bit. Um, yep, I mean I think basically we covered the whole concept. We just need now more examples. Um, yep, I wanted to also talk about it. When you are in position and you face the block bet, what type of hands you're actually raising? When you see you're facing like a 1/4 or 1/3, actually, yeah, if it's 1/4, you need to defend like 80% of your range, and actually that's like really, really a lot. So you will not be able to fold a lot. You will actually need to call a lot and also bluff raise a lot. And what type of hands you want to be doing it? Basically, just think about this concept. If you're actually when you are block betting, you mainly are betting your medium strength hands. So the best bluff raise hands, by that logic, would be actually hands. This guy seems like not opening that much, so I'll be folding king queen. Three betting or folding is fine. I'll be folding to this guy, which I think is okay, and folding is 4. We're here in the multi pot. When they will check, usually they don't have a top pair. We can go 1/3 here, which I think is also okay. In a multi pot, we can now bet Jack X and a good. Uh, and here, like it's classic block bet spot. We don't have ace queen. We would squeeze it a lot. He can have ace queen that is flatting, uh, and we can go for a block. I'll now go with the 1/3 block. We can still have hand like a jack queen, which is actually value bet on the river. So we're gonna bet it like this. We can have hand like a king nine, which actually wants to be preferring a block bet, and yeah, we have clear call of the raise with our hand. He can have ace queen, that's why we are actually blocking the river because we don't have it. And we block also queen 9 that he would be stabbing, so he actually reps like a king 10 mostly, and we have an easy call, and he turned the pocket sixes into bluff. And another great example that we get, so yep, nice. He turned the sixes into bluff, and actually does, I don't mind the play. But yes, in this spot, he actually has basically uh, blockers to our bluffs, so that's not that great. He's blocking hand like a 4-6 suited or 6-7 suited, so this hand is not ideal. Uh, I would rather turn the hand like a queen 10 into bluff because what we actually said that we want to block the medium strength part of the range from our opponent, and with queen 10 he's actually blocking king queen and queen jack, which will actually be block betting. So turning hand like a queen 10 has sense to be turning into bluff raise. This is actually, can you can do it, but actually here it's not good to have uh, pocket sixes. Don't want to have six of spade, so actually you're blocking the bluffing range, and that's actually what you don't want to be doing. Okay, table number one. We have a we can choose the size that we want. We can do 1/3 or 2/3. Actually, I'm gonna go 2/3 because here we're gonna actually check a decent amount of nines, tens, jacks. We're gonna mix some queen x hands, and with this combo draw, actually, I'm gonna be betting with the bigger size. We're gonna go like 6.8 here, 6.8, and everything else we folded. Okay, we're gonna fold this. Let's see the guy. We now have 200 hands just to have the feeling about the guy. He goes with the 4 bet. He called the ace queen there. We are calling pocket tens. Not ideal because the ranges here will be tighter than the GTO. GTO is calling pocket tens without any problem always. But yep, here I would say that his range will not have all ace queen off. His range is not going to have hand like an ace jack suited, king jack suited, king 10 suited. Probably not going to have. We have here hands like tens and jacks always. We have 10 jack suited, we have king queen suited, we have ace queen suited, we have even some ace kings here. So actually strong board for us. We're gonna start with 1/4. With our 1/4 step, we can go 20% step or 25%. It's basically the same. We're gonna be stepping really frequently on this board. Uh, and from what I see on my pool, people would over this table like always jam queens and kings if they're not betting it. They just play like that, which I think is bad. So we'll see what this guy will do. And this size actually put him ace king into tough spot or ace queens. We actually have clear call there. And then yes, even on this limit, they actually are doing that with the overpair. Always, I would be actually betting the queens if I were on his shoes because this board is actually hitting us really nice. Um, Queens need immediate protection. Uh, check shove them. You're gonna be mainly when you check shove them. You're gonna be mainly called uh, when you are well behind, and even if you're seeing you has queen of diamonds, so he's actually blocking hand like a king queen. He's actually blocking hand like a ace queen, and yep, he's not blocking ace king, and yep, that's basically it. And people just play on that way. So just think about how this step is really strong, because if immediately when you get called, you immediately know they don't have queens and kings. You immediately just know it. Here we can go with the check back or betting and check backing the river, which I think it's better because they just double barrel, good queens and over pairs always, and yeah, we're just gonna be folding there. This step on the turn, check raise on the turn, really value heavy across all the pools, really value heavy. So yeah, we can just step fold our pocket eights. Even I think we want to do a lot of check behind with our pocket eights. We could with our pocket tens, pocket jacks. Yeah, we want to be more polarized with steps, but just based how Paul plays, I think it's also fine to be stepping from time to time, hand like a net pocket eights, and yeah, just check it on the river and go to a showdown with it. I think it's fine. Okay, a lot of interesting hands, guys, and let me say a couple of more words. We are this is a fourth video, so we can call it a part four. Uh, I wanted to make before the summer wrap up or limit summary. I wanted to do big big live stream, like 5 hours, and I would do it if you would be with me. So if you're for that, please share in the comments. If you're gonna be with me, we can do one big live streams where we can go in war together and like make a big stream and like play our hearts out and share everything in one place, all the tips and tricks, everything in a live stream. We can do it like 5 hours big stream and try to try to all the things that we were going through, just put it as one. uh, and yeah, we're calling here, and we're gonna be check calling the river. He's using big polar size, and he reps like probably straight only, but he can still bet the two pair there. Our hand is actually always calling, so on the turn, and we are always calling the river. So yep, nice spot. So if you guys, if you like that idea that we do one really big stream together, uh, just let me know in the comments, and I will definitely be doing that. And we can then go through all of the concepts live. You can ask me question, ask me anything, and when we do it live together, I think it will just give you the best possible value, and I think that would be the best. So if you are for that, please let me know and we will do it, and then we can just wrap up the limit, uh, and make a limit summary. I think then we can also make a comparison into a previous limit. From what I saw here, I would say when we have a weaker player and we have it, I will be actually be betting and not gonna be checking range, because just losing value from weaker player. We are now out of position to one player, so actually we need to check a lot, but we're not gonna be checking range. We were actually gonna be betting our like best hands. We can check pocket kings, but we're gonna bet threes. We're gonna bet eights. We're gonna bet our good king x hands, like a king queen, like a king ace king, like a pocket aces. And we can check like a kings and hand like a king jack or king 10 just for protection. But these hands we want to bet alongside with our best bluffs hands, like queen jack of clubs, queen 10 of clubs, where we actually block a good king x hands. Yep. Uh, we have still a few minutes, so we will try to use them and wrap up the video. Um, I think that this concept actually, and I think it's really important. So I think you definitely want to be using it. Um, it can it will occasionally put you in a tough spot where you're gonna be blocking, you're gonna be face to raise, and you're gonna be in a tough spot. But the value you get from it, it's uncomparable, and you definitely want to be using it. Just remember that you want to start with the basics and upgrade to it. We're just gonna be 4 betting over squeeze, and uh, we call him queen 6. 4 betting over squeeze and folding to shove. This is like a good 4-bet bluff. He's gonna be squeezing in these positions, I would say decent amount of the time. So actually, it's nice spot. We're gonna bet 1/5. He's gonna having tens and jacks in the range. I don't think he's having kings or aces pretty often. And I'm gonna fold queen jack on against an overbet there. We folded there. It's a little dicey, but against an unknown player, I think it's fine. Uh, we can check back here. Pretty strong hands to be check backing, but I think we still want to be bluffing hands like tens. Uh, Maybe even some jacks we want to turn into block with the spade. So yep, three betting ace deuce here, calling a check raise there. I think it's okay. So definitely block betting is insanely powerful. You want to be using it starting with the basics and just add a little bit to it uh, to able to be able to fully utilize. We're actually blocking the bluffs here, so we're going to be folding it. To be fully utilizing it, you always want to be range versus range, just go into range versus range interaction, so you can get you need to just recognize which rivers are really bad for your range, and then to add balance to it, add value hands. uh, so start first with just the pure concept that we spoke about, and then we add a little bit by little bit on that. Okay, gonna be falling there, and suddenly all the guys are starting block betting, and actually in this spot actually has a lot of sense to be doing that. We check back like weak queen x hands. I would say they want to be blocking it, mostly the weak queen x hands. Let's see the yeah, I would say hand like a queen jack, queen 10. No, I didn't see the right board. Yeah, kind of like a queen 10, like a king queen, even like ace queen can just go to block on the river to get value from weaker hands. And yep, definitely on this run out, I think has a lot of sense. So maybe the guy did exactly the same thing with this type of hands. We're gonna be checking here, checking back. I think it's fine. We have like 2.5 minutes to go, so we're just gonna wrap it up. We're just gonna be playing free hands. I don't want to go. I don't want to be going more than an hour. I think the hour of the face-based action, a good uh, concept and good story is enough, and that over that goes a little bit into the boring water. So I don't want to do it. 1 hour fast-paced, a lot of good concept that we talked about. We put it everything there, and we're just going to be concluding the session. Uh, all the thing that I want from you guys is to share your comments if you like the blog bets. Do you like the concept? Did you understand it? Did I explain it correctly? And do would you like that big live stream where we're gonna play together live on live stream, uh, like a big long session, and just go and crush these guys and use all the tools, all the concepts that we will go through and put it together. I think like that could be really nice to be doing that. We're gonna be actually, I would actually be betting here because our ace jack goes here, ace king, and I'm just gonna use 1/3 with a lot. We actually take hands like a 10x and like a pocket sevens, ace with a heart. Um, Hands like jack 10 or ace 10. We actually take this type of hands. When he raises, we have a clear fold. So one more hand, and that's it. So please give your comments on my blog or below the video. And yep, if you want that live stream, I would actually love it, so we can just go deeply, and when I have like 5 hours and I know the battle will be less for 5 hours, and yeah, that would be really, I would really love it, because then we could fully show everything, and it's live. You can ask questions. It can be really really fun. Maybe we can make also a giveaway. I can give like 50% of winnings of that session to you guys, or even like 100% if a lot of guys, with if a lot of guys you would be watching, I would give like 100% of my winnings to you, and we can just award like top three most active guys, or top three comments of the live stream. I would do it. So if you're for it, tell me in the comments, and we can conclude the limit in like one uh, good uh, stream, and then make a summary, limit summary wrap up, where I will give you the concrete numbers, and we can even compare pools of NL10 and NL25. Uh, it was my pleasure to making this video for you, and yeah, let me know, and we will see what we're gonna do with our next video. Thank you very much, and good luck, guys.